In this, we'll be discussing what are the benefits of these standards in the organization. Can BCM be implemented in the organization? Apart from that, we'll be discussing that how the organization are going to stay compliant with these basic standards during this pandemic situation. All right. So, guys, before coming to the topic, let me just ask you a simple question that why it is a need that organization need to follow these standards. What is the need? See, always remember an organization always start with a vision. All right, an organization always start with the vision. All right, now what is vision, guys? Every organization have its own objective, right? That is long-term objective. Now to fulfill that vision, organization do what? They develop missions. All right, fulfill these visions, organization do what? They develop several missions. Now, guys, to fulfill these missions, the organization do what? They work on missions. So we develop what? We develop strategies. All right. So we'll be discussing about this. So strategy, always remember, is a long term. All right, it's always long term. And in simple word, if I'll be defining strategy, it always define what to implement and when to implement. All right. Now to work on strategy, we do what? We split it into tactical planning. All right, tactical planning. Now, what is tactical planning, guys? To work on strategy, we do what? We develop tactical planning. All right. Now, it is medium term. And then to work on tactical planning, we do what? We develop operational planning. All right. Operational planning. Now, if anyone will be asking you what is tactical planning, guys? So, tactical planners always answer the question that is what to implement, all right, and operational planning as you define the you can say the answer that is how to implement. All right, now simple definition of these key planning is, guys, continuity of services strategic planning. BCP is tactical planning, and to you can say to achieve that BCP, we'll be doing what? We'll be implementing remote site, that is hot site, cold site, warm site. We are going to come that topic. All right. Now, guys, why we are requiring these standards? Now, over here, let's suppose Javed is having its own organization. Mohit is having his own organization, and Deepak Bhatt is also having his own organization. All right. Now, why the customer will be coming to Deepak's organization, although Javed and Mohit organization are delivering the same services? Why? See, guys, if Deepak will be adopting these standards, it will be generating a sense of security, a sense of trust in the customers. All right, that's the reason organizations do what? They go and they certify themselves with these standards. All right. Now over here, guys, let me just go ahead. All right. Now talking about these things, guys, over here we do what? We have information system, right? In the organization, we have what? We have information system, under which we have three things, that is people, process, and technology. All right. Now, guys, these three things combine together to generate value. All right. These three things combine together to generate value. Value for what? Value for the stakeholders. All right. Value for stakeholders. So that's why we have various certification like ISO 27001, that is LA, that is lead auditor, and LI, that is lead implementer. In the lead implementer, the person, all right, he is responsible to implement ISMS in the organization, and lead auditor role is to audit those implemented processes, procedures, and guidelines. All right, now talking about ISMS, what is ISMS, guys? ISMS stands for Information Security Management System. All right. And what is it, guys? ISMS do what? It is a framework of policy and procedures that include all legal, physical, and technical controls involved in organization information risk management process. All right. That is ISMS. Now, what is ISO 27001, guys? So ISO 27001 do what, guys? it does not mandate specific information security controls, but it provides a checklist of controls. All right, that's why you might have seen that in ISO 27001 we use the word that is share. All right. Then what is ISO 27002? It guides the best practices for management of information security. All right. So for this ISO 27000, we have two certification in the market, whereas for ISO 27001, we don't have any certifications. I hope I'm clear to everyone. All right. Now,
Very
guys,
good.
talking about the thing that is BCM, that is Business Continuity Management, and this particular standard can be adopted in the organization. They can follow ISO 22301. Now, what is it, guys? Now, if you are, you can say, if you're worried to protect the information security of your organization, then you will be going with ISO 27001. But if your organization is more you can say is more focused towards providing the business continuity for the organization, at that time we'll be implementing ISO 27001. All right, let's suppose over here, let me take an example. An organization is having a data center. Now, guys, the whole purpose of the organization is that in case of any adverse event, what the organization should do. So in that case, the organization will be doing what? They will be developing a BCM, all right? They will be implementing business continuity management system in the organization. All right, and what I do, they will be doing what? They will be first of all developing BIA, that is business impact analysis. Now, before developing BCP, that is business continuity planning, before developing your disaster recovery planning, guys, your BIA need to be implemented. All right. Now, what is BIA, guys? BIA is business impact analysis, and it is what? It is a systematic activity that identify organizational risk and determines their effect on ongoing missions, critical operations, and processes. All right. So always remember that before you will be developing any BCP, that is business continuity planning, you need to develop the BIA for the organization. Now, what is BIA, guys? So under BIA, you will be doing what? You will be calculating the estimated tolerable downtime. You will be doing what? You will be finding the financial losses. What are the effects of financial losses? Also, you'll be writing effects of financial losses. Then you will be doing what? You will be defining that what kind of resources will be required to restore the systems, all right, so that the organization will not be suffering huge losses. All right, so you will be doing what? You'll be defining the resource needed to restore. Then you will be doing what? You will be defining the prioritization of critical processes. All right, you will be doing what? You'll be prioritization of critical processes. Now, guys, in the organization, everybody knows that there are two kind of you can say services that runs. That one is critical, another is not critical. Critical services are those, if they will be going down, your organization will be suffering huge losses. Now, the losses can be anything. It can be financial loss, it can be management loss, it can be legal loss, it can be you can say data loss. So the organization can do what? They will be doing what? They will be identifying the critical processes, they'll be prioritizing the critical processes, and depending upon that, they will be doing what? They will be developing business continuity plans. Am I clear? Now, for that, they will be doing what? They will be developing, you can say, remote site locations, all right, like hot site, cold site, warm sites. Apart from that, they'll be developing the disaster recovery planning. That in case of any you can say incident, if the organization has lost, you can say a huge amount of you can say data, so how the organization is going to recover that data? For that, you'll be having what? You'll be having disaster recovery planning. Am I clear? So these are what? These are some highlighted you can say topics that we are going to discuss in this particular you can say webinar. Apart from that, guys, under this BIA, we'll be discussing about various terminologies. That is, what kind of terminologies we'll be discussing? We'll be discussing about the terminologies like what is maximum tolerable downtime. We call it as, let me write it over here. So we will be doing what? We'll be discussing about the topic that MTD, that is maximum tolerable downtime. Now, what is it? We'll be discussing about mean time to failure. Now, what is it? Now we'll be discussing about mean time to repair. All right. We will be discussing about the topics like recovery time objective. We will be discussing about the topic that is recovery point objective. So these are the terms, guys, that we need to discuss while you can say developing the BIA. And depending upon this, we'll be doing what? We'll be developing BCP, that is business continuity planning, and we'll be developing what? We'll be developing DRPs. All right. Now, what is MTD, guys? Can anyone tell me what is MTD? Now, maximum tolerable downtime is what? It is the longest period of time that a business outage may occur without causing irrecoverable business failures. For example, guys, let me take the example of your inverter. All right. Now, over here, guys, for your inverter, you know that if the main power will be going down, what will happen? If the main power will be going down, you have your inverter, you can say at your home. Now that inverter will be doing what? It will be giving you the power for maximum 2-3 hours, right? Now that is the time, all right, that is maximum tolerable downtime. After that 3 hours, you will be facing huge losses. All right. For example, right now, I'm delivering this webinar. Let's suppose the main power will be going down. So I know that for another 2-3 hours, I can continue my work without having any loss. So that is what? That is maximum tolerable downtime. All right. Then we have next, guys, that is RPO. Now, what is RPO, guys? It is what? It is recovery point objective. All right. Now, what is it, guys? It is always given in hours, and it is what? It is the longest period of time that the organization can tolerate lost data, all right, being unrecoverable. All right. So over here, guys, you can say, let's suppose you have decided that within every 10 hours you'll be doing what? You'll be taking the backup for the data. Now, for the backup you have taken, that's okay, all right. But if you have not taken the backup in that particular period of time, so at that time the data will be lost. That is recovery point objective. Apart from that, we have another term that is recovery time objective. We have RTO, all right, that stands for recovery time objective. Now, what is it, guys? It is again given in hours, so it is the length of time within which normal business operation activities can be restored following an event. That how quickly organization will be restoring the business operations after a particular incident has occurred. All right. Then we have next, guys, that is MTTF, that is mean time to failure. Now, what is mean time to failure, guys? Now, it is what? It is the average time that a device or component is expected to be in operation. For example, guys, you might have seen, right? During our college days also, we used to play a lot of video games, is it or not? Now, what happens is we used to charge our laptop every time. So it happens that after 1 year or 2 years, your laptop used to show you an icon that your battery is not working properly. You have to do what? You have to replace it now. So that is what? That is mean time to failure. It is the expected time that the device will be in operation. You can just consider it as an expiry date of any medicine, right? For expiry date, all right, it means that till that date that the medicine can be used. Beyond that point, the medicine cannot be used. All right, so that is what? That is mean time to failure. Then we have mean time to repair, guys, that is MTTR. Now, what is it? It is the average time that is taken for a device or component to recover from an incident or failure. How much time it is taking for a device to recover after it has been interrupted, you can say it has been compromised with any incident or any kind of adverse event. That is mean time to repair. So these are the terms, guys, that we need to consider, all right, while deciding the BIA, that is business impact analysis. And only after you have decided the BIA, you will do what? You will be going and you will be, you can say, you will be developing your BCP, that is business continuity plan, and your DRP, that is disaster recovery planning. All right. Now talking about the term that is BRP, that is business continuity planning, guys. All right. So business continuity planning is what, guys? Can anyone define business continuity planning? So business continuity is also known as continuity of operations. Let me just write it over here. So we have business continuity. We also call it as continuity of operations. All right, now what is it, guys? So it is what? It is the collection of processes that enables an organization to maintain normal business operations in the face of some adverse event. All right. Inside this also we have what another term that is known as disaster recovery. All right. So what is disaster recovery, guys? It is the major component of your business continuity. All right. And it do what? It focuses on repairing, reconstructing, restoring, and replacing system, people, and other assets after a disaster has affected the organization. All right. So for that, we have various kind of disaster recovery processes, guys. That is, you will be notifying the stakeholders. You will be beginning with the emergency operations. All right. You will be assessing the damage that has been occurred. All right, because of any adverse event. You will be assessing the facility. You will be, you can say, beginning the recovery processes. All right. Apart from that, you'll be defining the, you can say, the order of restoration. Now, guys, over here we have a very important term that is known as asset. Now, what is an asset, guys? Can anyone define? We are using this term again and again. We are using the term that is incident again and again. We are using the term that is risk again and again. We are using the term that is threat again and again. So can anyone define these terms, guys? What is asset? What is incident? What is risk? What is threat? So guys, anything that is of organizational use is known as asset. It can be hardware, it can be software, it can be new releases, it can be, you can say their business secrets, it can be there, you can say the employees of the organization. So these are known as assets. So after deciding the assets, you'll be doing what? You'll be characterizing the assets. You will be categorizing them into categories that is critical and non-critical assets. All right. Then we have another term that is known as incident. Now, what is incident, guys? It's a very common term, right? So, what is incident, guys? So, any event, all right, that goes wrong is known as an incident. All right, any event that goes wrong is known as incident. Now, we have one more term over here that what is event now? We define that an incident is any event that goes wrong is an incident. So, what is an event, guys? So over here, what is an event, guys? See, anything you are doing with your computer. Let's suppose I have turned on my computer, that was an event. Opening my computer was an event. But what happened is, as soon as I turned on my computer was on, but suddenly a blue screen of death came in front of my system and my computer went down. So that is an incident, all right? So that is why we call any event that goes wrong is known as incident. All right. Then we have another definition, guys, that is known as risk. So what is risk, guys? Can anyone define what is risk? So if I will be defining risk, guys, risk is a concept that indicate exposure to the chances of damage. All right. That indicates exposure to the chances of damage. It's giving you the probability. Now, many people say that risk can always be negative, it cannot be positive, but it's not the scenario, guys. A risk can be positive, and the best example of positive risk can be your share market, right? And risk is always given with the definition, guys. That is, risk is always given as threat into vulnerability into consequences. All right, this is the definition of your risk. We also call it as likelihood into impact. All right, this that is also a definition of risk. Then we have another term that what is threat, guys. So what is threat? Threat is what? It is an event or action that could potentially cause damage to an asset. So whenever you will be learning or you will be hearing the term, guys, that is what is threat. So always remember that we are talking in terms of assets. All right, that's why in risk management, that is a very important topic for all these managerial courses, guys. So in risk management, we do what? We have the following processes. First is we'll be identifying the risk. Second is we'll be evaluating the risk. Third is we will be, you can say, treating the risk, right? So in risk identification, first of all, you identify the assets. Then you do what? After identifying the assets, you will be doing what? You will be identifying the threats. Then after identifying the threats, you will be doing what? You will be performing vulnerability assessment. And once you are done with it, you'll be going for risk assessment, right? In which you'll be performing qualitative risk analysis. You'll be performing quantitative risk analysis. And once after that, you have a clear idea that what kind of risk is posed to the organization, what is the severity of the risk, is it high, medium, low, or critical? Depending upon that, you'll be doing what? You'll be treating that risk. And treating the risk, we have four particular topics. That is, we either avoid the risk, we either mitigate the risk, we either transfer the risk, or we either accept the risk, right? So in risk avoidance, we do what? You will be completely avoiding the risk. For example, you have what? You are using, for example, you are using in your organization FTP protocol. All right. Now FTP, you all know it's a very, you can say very unsecure protocol, because whatever you'll be sending, it will be sent in clear text, right? So your organization decided to completely avoid that risk. So you'll be doing what? You will be stop using FTP protocol. So that is risk avoidance. All right. Second is risk transference. Now, what is risk transference, guys? Risk transference is what? When you will be transferring the risk to the third party, and they will be taking care of all the things after that. You will just pay for the services. All right. For example, what you have? For example, you guys have two-wheeler, four-wheelers, right? So as soon as you purchase your two-wheeler, four-wheeler, you go for insurance, right? So that is what? That is the example of risk transference. So that in case of any adverse event, that insurance company will be taking care of all the things, right? Although yearly you will be paying for the services. Then we have risk mitigation. Now, what is risk mitigation, guys? Risk mitigation means that you will be reducing the severity of the risk. That is, I gave you the example that your organization was using FTP protocol, and you find out that okay, that FTP protocol is very vulnerable, right? So you will be doing what? In that case, instead of using FTP, you'll switch to FTPS, or you'll be using, you can say, SFTP, right? So that is what? That is your risk mitigation strategy. And at last, we have risk acceptance, guys. So depending upon the appetite of the organization, you'll be doing what? You will be defining, you will be accepting the risk. All right. So these are the terms that are again and again used in this particular terminology, these in this particular courses. All right. So talking about, let's go to the slides, guys. So these are the agendas that we'll be discussing. Now talking about the things like we'll be discussing about what is ISO 22301 and what is ISO 27001 NA. All right. So what is ISO 27301, guys? As I defined, it's an international standard for business continuity management system. All right. And it is designed to protect, reduce the likelihood of occurrence, prepare for response, and recover from disruptive incident when they arise. That is the reason I gave you the definition of all these technical terms like incident, risk, so that you guys will not be, you can say, confused. All right. Whereas what is ISO 27001, guys? ISO 27001 is an international standard which is recognized globally for managing risk to the security of information of your organization. All right. Then we have what, guys? Then we have the next thing, that is what is the difference between ISO 27001 and ISO 22301. Now, guys, both these standards have been developed by ISO. All right. Now, what is ISO, guys? You all know what is ISO. ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization, and it is into operation since 1947. And till now, this organization has done what? It has developed round about 21,720 standards. All right. So it is what? It is a network of national standardization body from 163 countries. All right, that do what? That find results are published as international standards. All right. So talking about these two standard types, so ISO 22301 do what? It requires the implementation of a business continuity management system, which emphasize the importance of implementing and operating controls and measures for managing an organizational overall capability to manage disruptive incidents, amongst other things. So over here in BCM, the focus is on the availability of the information, all right? That let's suppose the organization has been compromised, all right? You can say any malware incident or any email incident or any kind of, you can say, adverse events. So at that time, under your BCM, you will be developing something kind of policy procedures, all right? And you can say guidelines that in that case, how your organization will be recovering from that particular adverse event and how you're going to provide the continuity of the services so that the organization will not be suffering much. Whereas in ISO 27001, we do what? It requires the implementation of information security management system, which preserve the CIA triad of information. Now, guys, CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, whereas confidentiality is what? Confidentiality pillar states that if any information belongs to me, so that information should be available only to me. It should not be accessed by any unauthorized person. All right. So to maintain this confidentiality, we do what? We use encryptions. Integrity pillar states that if I am sending any information to other person, all right, over the internet, so that that person should be receiving the same information that should not be, you can say, compromised or should not be modified. All right. So we have various kind of hashing algorithms available in the market. All right. So we have MD5, we have SHA, we have SHA-1, 2, SHA-256, SHA-512. Apart from that, what is availability, guys? Availability pillar says that even if your confidentiality integrity are you can say are provided, but if the information is not available at the time you require it, so there is no use of confidentiality and integrity, right? So for providing availability, we do what? So apart from these three pillars, guys, two more pillars were added, all right, later on. So two more pillars apart from the CIA are added, that is authentication, and one more pillar is provided, that is non-repudiation. Now, what is authentication, guys? Authentication pillar states that it confirms the genuinity of your packet. It confirms that from whatever source the packet is coming, it's genuine. All right. So to provide authentication, we generally use PSK, that is pre-shared keys. We use algorithms like RSA. Whereas your non-repudiation pillar says, let's suppose I send a mail to you guys, all right, and you are the guys who received it. And after a week, there was some complications in the organization because of that mail. So at that time, from my side, I cannot deny that I haven't shared the mail, and you cannot deny that you haven't received it. So that is what that is non-repudiation, guys. And for non-repudiation, we generally use what? We use digital signatures. All right. This non-repudiation feature is also used in your identity and access management for your accountability. All right. So these are what? These are the things that are being protected using your ISO 27001. All right. So this is the basic difference between ISO 27001 and ISO 22301. All right. Apart from that, we have various benefits. All right, for your ISO 22301 for the business. That is, it will be improving the stability of business processes. So that is the reason I told you guys, if you have, you can say you are certified against all these standards, your organization is certified against all these standards, so it will be doing what? It will be generating a sense of trust among the, you can say, the customers. All right, that will you can say that will be increasing the customer base, and you can say you can easily achieve the vision of your organization. All right, to achieve the vision, you will be developing missions. To achieve the missions, you will be developing strategy. To achieve the strategy, you will be splitting it into tactical planning, and to achieve the tactical planning, you will be doing what? You will be splitting it into operational planning. All right. So these are the benefits, that is reduced outage and recovery times for the applications. It will be providing the structural approach for the incidents. All right, using incident handling and response procedures. It will be doing what? It will be gaining comprehensive risk assessment involving all level of the businesses, You will be able to clearly identify the risk. You will be clearly able to prioritize the risk and then clearly able to treat those risks by implementing the controls. All right. Apart from that, another benefits is it meet internal and international standards as well as stakeholders requirement. Now, guys, we have a term over here that is stakeholder. So, what do you mean by stakeholder? It's a very common term, all right, that you will be seeing every time with the management level courses, right? So, what is stakeholder? So, a stakeholder, it can be any person, all right, who is directly or indirectly gets influenced by the organization programs. So that is what that is a stakeholder. All right. Then it also strengthens the involvement of managers in emergency management. And also it do what? It enhances stakeholders' confidence in the organization. This was the thing that was I was telling you in the beginning also. Because guys, trust is a very important thing, all right? That's why you might have seen that reputational loss is considered as a huge loss. But a few years back, there was an application that was being used in the market, right? It was being downloaded by more than a million people all around the globe. The name of that application was Cam Scanner. I guess many of you are using it right now also, right? So what was the impact, guys? That application, all right, it came to light that that application is having a malware. All right. So the people they can say install that application. So after that, after 2 3 months, the developer of that application again came to the market and they said that okay, now we have removed all the you can say malwares and now the application is completely safe. But there is no use because once the reputation is lost, trust is lost, everything is lost, right? Similarly, guys, if your banking website is compromised, so guys, apart from having financial losses, the bank will be facing another huge loss that is reputational loss. And it's a very common human psychology, right? If any bank website is compromised, so I will never be opening my account in that bank, right? So that's why reputational loss is again considered as a very huge loss in the organization. So these standards toward they enhance stakeholders' confidence into the organization. All right. Then we have next, guys, that is why integrating ISO 27001 and 22301 is important for the business. So guys, why? Because if you'll be implementing ISO 27001 in the organization, it will be doing what? It will be reducing the risk related to the CIA triad of your information, right? And it will be doing what? It will be helping the organization to achieve conformity with legislation regulating protection of confidential information. Whereas your ISO 22301 will do what? It makes sure that even after an adverse event, the organization business, you can say normal business operations will be provided, all right, so that the organization will not be suffering much losses. All right. Then we have what that is why you can say what to implement first. That is ISO 22301 and ISO 27001. What does to be implemented first? And it's a very debatable question. All right. So over here, all right, if your organization, all right, if your organization faces multitude of threats, all right, so you can do what? You can implement ISO 22301 first, or you can implement ISO 27001 also, or you can implement both of them, all right, one by one in the organization. If you are more concerned providing the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your information resources, so at that time you'll be going with ISO 27001. And if your organization is more towards providing the business continuity, at that time you'll be developing what? You'll be implementing ISO 22301 in the organization. Now again a question arises that can we implement ISO 22301, all right, if the organization is not being implemented with ISO 27001? So yes, the answer is yes, it is possible to implement you can say BCM in the organization. Instead, you are not having, you can say ISO 27001. So in that case, the emphasis will be how to ensure availability of information, all right, and business processes in the case of disaster. In that case, you'll not be ensuring the CIA of the information. You'll not be focusing much on providing the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. At that time, your main focus will be on providing the continuity. All right, so that the organization, business operations, critical business operations will be continued and the organization will not be suffering huge losses. Am I clear? I hope I'm clear to everyone, guys. Then we have next, that is how to stay compliant with basic international standard in COVID-19. So guys, you all know that there are various risks that are related to, you can say related to working from home, right? So we have what? We have access to third party, all right, access of third party to the devices. Likewise, you're working, you left your laptop, your family member came and they start doing some work on that laptop, right? So that is what? That is again a risk, right? Apart from that, hard copy material used at the remote work site can be lost or stolen. That is again an issue. Not only hard copy, even the theft of devices is again an issue. Apart from that, unauthorized access to the organization system. Because guys, if I'm working, all right, for my organization from home, so my if my family members will be using my computer, they can easily access the resources of the organization, right? Because over there nobody is checking that actually it is Deepak Bhatt or you can say any other person. It will be checking the, you can say, the access rights that have been given to Deepak Bhatt, right? So again, it's a risk. Apart from that, interception of data during transmission between the company and the devices, all right, because we will be using internet for communicating, right? So over there, guys, it's a saying and it's a true fact that internet is considered as one of the, you can say, weakest mode of communication. It is not secure at all. It's not secure at all right? So again, it's what? It's a risk, all right, that is associated with your remote work. Apart from that, blocking of communication channel and invasion into the organization environment, it's again an issue, all right? If you are using, you can say, if you are logging into your organizational network using a open Wi-Fi or free Wi-Fi, at that time what can happen? At that time, many kind of attacks can be possible. Man in the middle attack, sniffing attack, all right? These are the attacks that can be possible. And at that time, again, the CIA triad of the organization will be at risk. All right. So these are the risks that are associated with remote work. All right. Apart from that, guys, what kind of environments you will be using? All right, for, you can say, for during this pandemic situation. So at that time, you'll be doing what? You will be using various kind of standards, all right, that you can use during COVID-19 situation. All right, so we have ISO 27001. In that, it specifies, all right, it says that always use VPNs. All right, let me write it over here. Let me just do one thing. Just give me a minute now. So let me just remove this one. So guys, there are 13 key standards to follow. So according to ISO 27001, it says that you will be using VPNs. Always use VPNs during remote work. Avoid split VPNs. All right, avoid split VPNs for working. Apart from that, whenever you're working, secure your authentication. All right, secure your authentication. Apart from that, it also says that check your own user device. Apart from that, it will be saying follow the company security policies, update host for connections, and backup for remote access to your network. All right, these are the key standards that need to be followed that are being suggested by ISO 27001. Then again, your ISO 22301 says that you will be evaluating the risk, that is risk evaluation you will be doing. All right, apart from that, you will be providing the backup options. All right, backup options should be provided. All right, for the supply chain, you will be doing what? You will be developing a risk management framework. All right, apart from that, you will be doing what? You will be providing, you will be following healthy practices, all right, for employees in the organization. And also you'll be doing what? You will be maintaining customer engagement. Apart from that, guys, not only these two standards, even GDPR has also stated certain kind of key standards. All right, that is limited access to internal sources, device and data encryption should be there. All right, the remote finding of devices, that is if your device is lost or you can say it is theft or stolen at that time, it should be located easily, and if it is not located at that time, you can able to wipe the you can see the data from that device. All right, so that the you can see the confidential data of the organization should not be lost or should not be falling into the wrong hands. Apart from that, you will be doing what? You will be developing cyber insurance policy. You will be doing what? You will be appointing a DPO. All right, that is data protection officer. That is again that is a point that has been stated by GDPR. All right, now what is the work of DPO over here, guys? Is all right, apart from that, you will be doing what? You will be timely providing the data breaches report. Now, what is the use of appointing a DPO? DPO stands for data protection officer. All right, now what is the use of you can say appointing a DPO? So a data protection officer is what, guys? He's responsible for supervising the company's data security strategy. All right, and in case of any data breach, he will be doing what? He will be informing the higher authorities, and also in case of that, he'll be doing what? He'll be providing training to the employees. All right, so your company should possess or deals with large scale sensitive personal data. Your company is engaged in the systematic monitoring of people, and your company is located in Germany and has over 10 employees involved in the processing of personal data. In that case, you will be doing what? You will be appointing a DPO, all right, according to GDPR. So these are what, guys? These are the key standards that need to be followed during this COVID-19 situation. All right. Then we have what? Then we have the next thing. That is what are the key standards you can follow apart from that. So even ISO has developed various standards, guys, that you can follow during this COVID-19 situation. That is ISO 3745. All right, that is protective gloves against dangerous chemicals and microorganisms. ISO 10993, that is biological evaluation of medical devices. Apart from that, they have also you can say introduced ISO 13688, that is protective clothing. ISO 22301, that is security and resilience, that is business continuity management, that we already discussed. ISO 22316, that is organizational resilience. We have ISO 22320, that is emergency management. So these are the standards that they have discussed and they have asked you to follow during this COVID-19 situation. All right, so guys, these are the things that are very important and are some of the key points for these two standards. Although these two key standards are very vast, all right, and they itself you can say cover a lot of topics. All right, so if I talk about the certification courses, so for ISO 27001, we have two certification courses that are widely adopted by the organization, and the people also go for the certification. So we have 27001 LA, that is lead auditor, and we have one more certification, that is LI, that is lead implementer. These two certification courses are being provided by InfoSec Train also, and I guess next month both the batches are being launched. I'll take care of those batches. All right, apart from that, ISO 22301, that is BCM, again the certification courses are available for this certification course. All right, and you can do what? You can enroll for these certification courses. In these you'll be learning various things, that is what is business continuity management, what is BIA, what are the topics that you will be learning in BIA. All right, apart from that, what are the you can say various strategies, what kind of threats we have, what kind of how vulnerability assessment will be done. Apart from that, what is hot site, what is cold site, what is warm site, how you'll make sure that you can say what kind of assets you will be you can say prioritizing, how you will be you can say marking the critical assets, what kind of steps you'll be following during any adverse event, so that you can do what you can continue the you can say critical business operations of the organization. All right, so all these things will be discussed in all the courses, all right, over here. So this is about the, you can say, the topics that we need to discuss. I hope you all enjoyed the session, guys. So talking about registration process, all right. So you can do what? You can contact sales team of the organization, and they will be doing what? They will be guiding you that how you're going to enroll for this course and what will be the duration, and you can say what will be the scheduling and everything. All right. I hope you all enjoyed the session, guys. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.